currency or decimal data type. Which should I choose? Please don't let your data fail. If you don't know what's the difference between those, that video is for you. Let's get started. This time, let's start from the end. The choice between currency and decimal data type is not straightforward. It might differ in our specific case, but we can see 4 overall rules that we can follow. In short, if you have a monetary data, your default choice should be currency. But sometimes the currency data type is not enough. You need to use higher precision decimal data type. The next concern is about performance. If you have a huge table, currency data type is a better choice due to the fact it consumes less memory storage. Let's see all of those examples in details in Power BI. Let's jump to the Power BI file. Let's jump to the Power BI report and let's look at a very dangerous case when you shouldn't use currency data type for monetary data. Sometimes 4-digit precision is not enough, especially for exchange rate. Let's imagine that your boss would come to you and ask to change your financial data from American dollars to euro currency, and you have your sales and exchange rate tables. In our case, both tables came from Contoso database. If you are not familiar with the Contoso database, please look at my previous video. Let's focus on totals. As you can see, they are different. We have 2 the same columns. The formula logic is the same for both. We multiply current sales with the exchange rate. It's exactly the same for 2 of them. The difference is only on the multiplicator. In one case we use decimal data type, and for other currency. So how is possible that we have some huge difference? There is 50k difference between 2 of them. To understand that, we need to look at the exchange rate table. Let's go to the Power Query. I created 2 columns. One is stored as decimal point, the second as currency. The difference in exchange rate is very tiny. Here we have actually 5-digit precision. For exchange rate we have 4-digit precision, but when we are going to multiply that value with a big number, we will see a tiny difference. And when we cumulate those tiny errors in our database, the totals might be completely different. Even for small transactions, you won't see any changes, but the biggest impact is on the big ones. Let me change the order, and for example here you can see that there is €2 difference, and that's the reason why the totals are so different. So please remember, for exchange rate we have to use decimal point data type. The currency is not enough. Let's jump to another problem. Sometimes too high precision is a problem, especially when you need to compare 2 numbers. Let's imagine that your case is to see if some products sales is below or above some specific categories. I created 2 the same DAX queries. It's an if statement to check if the sales value is equal to 0.3. We have 2 the same DAX codes. The difference is only in the selected columns. And when you look at the result, you can see that we have one row with the same financial number, but the formula brings different result. How is possible? To understand it, we need to go to the details. Both of those columns are formatted in Power BI as a currency, but the root cause is in the Power Query. So again, we need to jump to the Power Query and let's check the data type. Here we don't see anything suspicious. At the first glance, everything looks good, but if you click on specific cell, you will see that actually our number is very high precision. It actually is not equals 0.3, and because of that, in the DAX query, that value doesn't match to our formula. So in that case, we can fix it in at least two ways. One is to use round in the DAX code. So it would be good to use rounding function to make sure both numbers are comparable. And the second is to choose different data type like currency instead of decimal. And let's jump to the last concern, is the storage. Now let's see the storage for both columns, decimal and currency. To do that, I will use DAX Studio tool. Let me open DAX Studio. I'm connected with our Power BI file. Let's go to the Advanced and click View Metrics and click OK. And here we can compare two the same columns but store it in a different way. When you hover over any header, the table, you will see a short description. As you can see, the total size is sum of data size, dictionary size, and hierarchies. And the biggest difference between the currency and decimal data type is in the dictionary. The number of unique values when you round a number is smaller when you use high precision. So that's why at the end the total size is smaller. Please keep in mind that the Vertipack engine that Power BI use is a columnar database type, and number of unique values in one column makes difference in performance. Smaller number of unique values, so smaller cardinality, increase the performance. So please keep in mind, if you have a big table, some performance issue with numbers, changing the type from decimal to currency, assuming that you don't need high precision, will improve the performance because of the storage. It will consume less memory. Let's sum up briefly again what we learned. Please remember, if your data are financial, your default choice should be currency. For exchange rate, you shouldn't use currency data type. The precision is not enough. The overall rule is, if you need data with high precision, you shouldn't use currency. And if you have a performance issue and the big data set, changing to currency may help you. Please let me know in comments if you have similar problem or maybe new one, and subscribe my channel if you like the video.